can't control me. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you, man.
But they can't control me. You
Not
see, it
you.
ain't no name I won't name. It's up.
I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
This stuff sounded so outlandish, from like Epstein to even the shit with like Pizzagate and Haiti, and you hear like, man, that's so dark. There's no way it can be true. And I would be reading this stuff and be like, something like, again, I'll be like, I'm not that much of a conspiracy theorist to be like, this stuff, they can't really be trapping little kids and sleeping with them, and and still be billion.
Chris Tucker that we got now is Epst3in Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey.
And the kids were not always enthusiastic about the food that they were being served. So they were always trying to call for pizzas. And you can't order a pizza to the White House.
Would love you to come over for pizza, bud. How was the pizza? Was it good?
Oh, what
Did he make it
Amal's
himself?
pizza was better than Clooney's. They both made, everybody made a certain kind of pizza.
There's no pizza we didn't love.
Something.
Should eat pizza? I was like, well, no, I don't want to. And then, I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to. Where did we go? We went True Kitchen.
Hold on a second.
I should have promoted it.
Let you promote whatever you want, but I need to take a step back because you just said something crazy. What do you mean, why would you want to eat pizza?
You know what? This is a labor of love for Jay, and as a result, he's my friend. We're here to talk about that and nothing else.
You ever notice how some celebrities can get caught in a scandal and the internet will drag them for a week, but other celebrities, their name can pop up next to the darkest situation imaginable, and suddenly the media starts whispering, well, let's not jump to conclusions. That's the part that makes people feel crazy, because it's not even about whether every rumor is true. It's about how fast the protection kicks in when certain names get mentioned. And that's why Katt Williams has been trending again, because he's been saying for a while that the industry is full of protected people. And now with these Epstein files back in the conversation, a lot of people feel like Katt was warning everyone in plain English. And before we get into the names, if you like these breakdowns where we connect the dots and talk about what other channels avoid, hit like and subscribe, because we post new deep dives all the time. Now, let's get into it.
Tucker that we got now is Epst3in Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey. Whew. If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest. I don't care what you say. To be confident and not delusional is a real skill. Most of these confident people we see is really delusional.
Well, you don't think they asked Chris Tucker to come back in the second Friday? Smokey was all in Smokey. There ain't no Friday without Smokey.
We all agree to that, and there's no next Friday without Friday, and there's no Friday after next without Friday.
Nah, we talking about the road because you said that they don't.
Here's the thing. Okay. Here's the thing. Chris was allowed to make the decision. At the time that this is happening, Katt Williams is known for smoking weed. Willie Nelson is known for smoking weed. Right. Snoop's known for smoking weed, but none of us is really known except Willie. And I'm saying, Chris Tucker didn't want to be the poster child for smoking weed. He don't smoke weed like that.
Right.
He in the church. He Michael Jackson's best friend. Christmas. Michael Jackson called him Christmas. You ever met a man that gave you a little nickname like that?
No.
Me neither.
Because this isn't just about one list, one jet, or one island. It's about the way celebrities panic the second their name even brushes the Epstein conversation, and why Katt keeps insisting Hollywood is built on control. One of the wildest clips making the rounds right now is Nick Cannon basically admitting he used to think all this sounded too outlandish to be real. Like, no way these people could be doing this and still be billionaires. And that line matters, because it's the same mental block most people had for years. The idea that someone could be accused of something evil and still get invited to award shows, still get praised in documentaries, still get protected by PR teams and billion-dollar companies. But now, the Epstein files are back, and it's not just random accounts talking. It's flight logs, emails, resurfaced interviews, and names that keep circling the same orbit. And once that door opens, it doesn't close quietly. It swings off the hinges. And Katt has been saying that's what would happen. He literally said, they can control Jay-Z and Beyonce, but they can't control me. It ain't no name I won't name.
You know, Jazzo and Jay-Z were in London living it big time back in like '88. They were in this huge, I born and raised in England, and I never saw an apartment that looked like that in England, or a flat, as we call it. I've never
So
seen
they lived
that.
there for a little bit?
They were there for like, I don't know, 5 months, something like that.
In your thoughts on Donald Trump and what it means for what it means for mass incarceration?
You know what? This is a labor of love for Jay, and as a result, he's my friend. We're here to talk about that and nothing else.
Well, then can I ask you about mass incarceration? And do you think the movement is...
And whether you think he's fearless or reckless, that statement hits different when the public is already on edge and ready to believe the worst. And the first celebrity name that really set the internet on fire in this wave was Jay-Z, because according to what's circulating online, an anonymous victim connected him to an alleged incident involving Harvey Weinstein. Instantly, Jay's fans went into defense mode, saying it didn't add up, saying he was too new in the industry in 1996, saying he was just a hungry rapper back then. But here's the thing, being new in your career doesn't mean you're new to the rooms. Those are two different things. Some people climb slowly. Other people get pulled into circles early because someone sees value in them. And what made people spiral is that old clips of Jay-Z and Weinstein together started resurfacing again, including this one interview moment where the host tries to ask Jay-Z about mass incarceration, and Weinstein cuts in, redirects, and basically shuts the conversation down. And the way Jay-Z just sits there, almost like he's waiting for permission to speak, made people say, hold up, why does this look like a handler situation? That word keeps popping up, handler. And then the internet stacked on top of that photos of Jay-Z and Weinstein at Diddy's 29th birthday party, and the narrative became bigger than one accusation. It became, why were all these people comfortable together? And then Kanye West's old rant resurfaced too, where he was basically saying Jay-Z and Pusha T could never truly stand up for our people.
People like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living our people, so how the they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, oh, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars.
Man.
Liars are now the face of our culture.
I think it is highly offensive for people who are smart enough to really know what's happening. Look, y'all talk all that about R. Kelly. Beyonce was on that island where they was kids. Beyonce was on Pedo Island. Beyonce and the camel.
Yeah. They said she was in there like, uh-oh, 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 uh-oh.
Right.
I hope I can go see her again.
She was singing and look, if you like it, put your mouth on it. This is what I'm saying. It's like you give her a pass. You give her a pass. She can have a concert and everything after she's a known participant on Pedo Island. It's like people want to dismiss it. That's why you can't tell me nothing about what the media say about nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the media is going to make a bad guy out of whoever they want to be the bad guy.
Because they made their living inside a system that requires silence. Kanye's argument was that the culture gets led by people who are compromised, and the public ignores it because they love the music. And when you combine Kanye's words with Katt's warnings, it creates this ugly idea that some of the biggest names in entertainment might be protected because they're useful, not because they're innocent. And that's where the conversation starts getting darker, because once people feel like the system protects certain stars, they start asking questions about everyone connected to those stars. That's why Beyoncé got dragged into it too. Another comedian went viral, claiming Beyoncé was on Epst3in's island, and he even took it into ritual talk, which is where the internet goes extreme. But the reason it still spreads is because people have watched too many situations where the sweet, harmless celebrity turned out to be a monster behind closed doors. That's what makes this era different. People aren't giving the benefit of the doubt the way they used to. Now it's more like, we've been lied to too many times. And that's why Katt's name keeps coming up, because he's been saying, y'all give passes to the people you love. And then the Epstein files opened up another huge name, Naomi Campbell. And this one is messy because it's not even based on vibes.
I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend Flavio. He was always front and center at Victoria's Secret shows,
Did you suspect what he was doing?
No. And what he's done is indefensible. And when I heard of what he'd done, it sickened me to my stomach, just like everybody else. Because I've had my fair share of sexual predators, and thank God that I had good people around me that protected me from this. I mean, right now I stand with the victims. I can't, they're scarred for life.
And what do you think she gets out of it? Well, she gets money. When you bring models or people that can easily be manipulated, you get funded. You get funded. How does she own an island being a supermodel?
I didn't know she owns an island.
Yeah, she owns an island. But this is crime scene investigation.
Yeah.
But it opens your eyes to things that you never even thought of, and I connect all the dots slowly, but it all makes...
It's based on the claim that she took multiple flights on Epstein's private jet in the early 2000s. And once that detail gets out, the public doesn't care what the explanation is, because the plane itself has a reputation. The name Lolita Express is enough to make people feel sick. Naomi has denied knowing what Epstein was doing and has said she stands with victims. But the internet doesn't stop there. People started circulating emails they claim show her coordinating logistics for Epstein's parties. And then old clips of her recruiting models started going viral, and the narrative became, was this recruitment just for fashion, or was it for something darker? And once the public starts seeing Hollywood as a pipeline for exploitation, every luxury becomes suspicious. Every connection becomes suspicious. Every friendship becomes suspicious. And that's why the Epstein files don't just expose names, they expose how connected the elite really are. Then you have Bill Gates. And this is where it gets almost surreal, because Bill Gates sat on television and tried to downplay his relationship with Epstein like it was just a few dinners. He literally said, "I shouldn't have had dinners with him."
One of the issues that's dogged you is that of your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you regret the relationship that you maintained with him against Melinda's advice and wishes?
Oh, I've said that you're going way back in time, but yeah,
new audience.
I will say for the, over 100th time, yeah, I shouldn't have had dinners with him.
Epstein had a way of really compromising people. Is that what Melinda was warning you about?
No. I mean, no, I had dinner with him, and that's all.
It was unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right?
It was many things, but I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
And you made that clear to him?
I made that clear to him. I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time.
Did you?
Yes, because I wanted to see who this man was. And I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterward.
But the files people are passing around suggest a much deeper relationship, and the internet went even crazier because of an email they claim exists where Bill Gates supposedly asked Epstein for antibiotics to give Melinda without her knowing. And even if you don't believe every detail being passed around online, the bigger issue is this. Melinda later spoke publicly and said she met Epstein once, regretted it immediately, and described him as evil. She said she had nightmares after meeting him. And when you put those two stories side by side, people start looking at Bill Gates differently, because it's one thing to be fooled by someone, but it's another thing to keep meeting with someone your wife is warning you about. Then the divorce happens, she walks away with billions, and now people are like, so she knew more than we realized. And that's what the Epstein files do. They don't just make people angry, they make people suspicious of the lies and the PR spin and the denial. And then you have the name that shocked a lot of casual viewers, Chris Tucker. Because for most people, Chris Tucker is just Smokey. He's Rush Hour. He's the funny, harmless comedian. But his name allegedly popped up in Epstein's documents and flight logs because of a flight in 2002. And immediately, his team went into damage control mode, saying it was a humanitarian trip to Africa for AIDS awareness, and that Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey were also there. But that explanation actually made it worse, because now you've attached Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey to the story, and those are not names that calm people down.
You knew
Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. You know, we flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different. Well, that was a humanitarian trip to Africa, and I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation, and yeah, I met him, and you know, you don't know people what they do in their private lives, so yeah.
But tell me this, Chris. He was on this private plane, and you could tell that it was a private plane because they called it, was it Lolita Express?
Oh yeah, it was a private plane. Yes. Oh yes.
But wait a minute. You didn't never go to that island, did you?
No. I don't know where that thing is.
Those are names that make people lean in closer. Chris Tucker was asked about it, and the clip is uncomfortable to watch. He's nervous, stuttering, trying to play it off like, you don't know what people do in their private lives. But the interviewer presses him and says, wait, you were on the Lolita Express? And Chris confirms it was a private plane, but insists he never went to the island. And maybe that's true, but the public doesn't trust that kind of denial anymore because it's the same script every time. I didn't know. I just met him once. I was only there for charity, and people are tired of hearing it. And this is where Katt Williams looks like he's reading the future, because back in January 2024 on Club Shay Shay, Katt randomly brought up Chris Tucker while talking about Friday and said, the Chris Tucker we got now is Epst3in Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey. At the time, people laughed. They thought it was Katt being petty or jealous. But now, with the logs circulating, people are replaying that clip like Katt was dropping a warning. And Katt didn't stop there. He also started hinting at Ashton Kutcher and Nick Cannon being tied to the wider industry mess.
This is truly Babylon if this is the case. And so I would never speak out about it too much because I didn't want people to be like, what the f you talking about? Like, there's no way. Like, it's Pizzagate. If somebody told you about the Epstein and you'd be like, man, come on now, this billionaire is really taking, and what, because I don't want to f it up, but someone that worked for him, even on the child protective services side, was actually snatching those kids that were supposed to be missing kids and providing them to, like, that shit in itself sounds fucking ridiculous.
And with Ashton, people weren't even shocked, because Ashton has been attached to weird stories for years. The internet has dragged him for being close to powerful men who later got exposed, dragged him for writing letters defending Danny Masterson, dragged him for always being in rooms he shouldn't be in. And now, in the middle of this Epstein panic, people are looking at him like, why does this man keep orbiting controversy? And then Nick Cannon circles back in the story, because he's not just commenting from the outside. He's feeding the paranoia by saying he used to think it was too dark to be real, and now he's not putting anything past billionaires. And online, that paranoia has exploded so hard that people are even speculating about Nick's own life, saying his huge number of kids is tied to something deeper. And look, that's where the internet goes off the rails. But it shows you the atmosphere we're in right now. People don't just suspect individuals anymore, they suspect the entire system. Every celebrity lifestyle, every billionaire, every good guy. And that's why the Epstein files are not just another scandal, they're a cultural breaking point. Because the scariest part isn't even the names we already know, it's the names we don't. It's the people who still haven't been touched. It's the people who still get invited everywhere. It's the people who still get protected by the same media that tells you you're crazy for asking questions. And Katt Williams has basically been saying the same thing. The scariest part is how many people are still untouchable. So now I have to ask you, do you think Katt Williams is actually exposing something real? Or do you think he's just taking advantage of a moment where people are desperate for someone to blame? And more importantly, do you think any of these celebrity names are actually going to face real consequences? Or is this just another cycle where the public gets outraged and the powerful walk away clean? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want the next breakdown in this series, click the next video because it gets even messier.